Go back to the UK. Harry Trembles as THF Kevin Roberts asked US government to deport him after using drugs. After unsuccessfully requesting Harry's visa application, the Heritage Organization spoke out and forced the U.S. government to deport him. Kevin Roberts, the president of a leading Washington think tank, says 2 to 3% of the U.S. population like the couple. Americans want the Duke of Sussex to return to Britain, the head of a leading Washington think tank has said. Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, is assisting the think tank's legal action to investigate the Duke of Sussex's U.S. visa application following his admissions of drug taking in his memoir Spare. Asked whether the Duke should be deported following these revelations, Mr. Roberts told The Telegraph, "We don't like him being in America and we would love for him to come back to anywhere else. I guess we as Americans, we see Prince Harry the same way you might see President Biden. You can have him back." The Heritage Foundation, the biggest conservative think tank in the U.S., has demanded the release of the Duke's American visa application. The U.S. government has so far refused to release it despite a Freedom of Information request, but a court will rule on whether the issue compels officials to release his immigration records to the public following pressure from the group. They are basing their case on U.S. immigration laws, which state that any foreigner determined to be a drug abuser is classed as inadmissible, although immigration officials can use their discretion to waive the rule. The Duke admitted in his autobiography to taking cocaine, cannabis, and magic mushrooms in the past. He also owned up to taking magic mushroom chocolates in Courtney Cox's house. In an interview with Variety in February, the Friends star confirmed that Prince Harry had stayed at her house, but denied passing out psychedelics. "He did stay here for a couple of days, probably 2 or 3. I'm not saying they were mushrooms, I definitely wasn't passing them out." Sources close to the Duke have previously indicated that he was truthful on his visa application, suggesting that he did disclose his past drug use. Mr. Roberts told The Telegraph that only 2 or 3% of the U.S. population love the nonsense that Harry and Meghan spew, and that in general, Brits don't have to worry about Americans being on their side. He added that Americans admire the consistency of the British form of government, which of course includes the royal family. In previous court rulings, the Heritage Foundation and Mike Howell versus U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the think tank argues that the request for the Duke's visa application is of immense public interest. Mr. Roberts' comments came less than a week after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex claimed that they were involved in a near-catastrophic car chase in NYC. The couple, along with Meghan's mom, were chased by paparazzis in a 2-hour relentless pursuit by a gang of at least 6 paparazzi in blacked-out vehicles. However, the account the Sussexes released last week did not land quite as well as they had expected, with New York authorities and other witnesses raising questions about their version of events, particularly the alleged level of intensity. City authorities played down the severity of the incident, saying that although photographers had made the Sussexes' journey challenging, there had been no reported collisions, summonses, injuries, or arrests.